it's Kodiax and welcome to my life. So, yesterday, something extremely good happened, which is I got my first subscriber. Can you believe that? So, that motivated me so much that that I created profile logo and thumbnail, which is not really really much better from the better than the previous one. Yeah, that's all of that was caused by the fact that I got the first subscriber. Yeah, that's so cool. So let me check if you see this correctly. I will close channel analytics, customization, refresh the page. I'm not sure if you guys see when I browse. Let me see if, let me check OBS. Oh, you do? Wow, didn't expect that. So you see my channel. We will go here. I'm not sure if you guys. I will do this. Put auto like. Good. And let's switch to coding. You can see my screen where I have my game board rendered. And let's begin. So last time we finished with completing the square, the grid and the squares themselves. Now we want to actually make something meaningful out of that. So we want to generate food and the snake, etc., and controllers. So let's start with, well, actually, I feel quite lost because like we have something, but we clearly lack something. And I don't want to back every every prompt from ChatGPT. So let's try to think. We have generators for snake and food. What we probably want to have is our snake to be shown, right? And for it to be movable. But let's start with it's being visible. We can do that by picking up a color for the snake. Well, I'm thinking about completing render square function with the case. Yeah, let's see. Hmm. And I just understood you. I probably said some BS because so let me try to explain it correctly. What I mean is we have this render square function, and I want to write its logic depending on the type of square we want to mm, render. So let's start. Let's path. Oh, I know how we will do this. So look how we check how we are going to do this. We will make it like this. Enum, and this enum will include square type. Haha, smart, don't you think? Yeah, and this is good, honestly. Empty snake food. This makes sense. Now we want to pass a parameter which can be nullable. A parameter of, wait, square type, and it will be of this type, and by default we want it to be square type empty. Isn't that cool? Yeah, fuck off. I just I just got a notification that my Pomodoro time is completed, but I don't feel like I did much, so I will continue on working. And we have all of this. Now we want to, yeah. So now we want to make conditional rendering. So, yeah, we want to check, or I think we are better with switch square type, this. No, that's not, that doesn't look to be the proper way of writing this. And I forgot how we, oh, default. That's gonna be default. List, fuck off. Dude, this autocomplete sometimes pisses me off, to be honest. That's gonna be default return. And we want to, yeah, if a snake, I think we can do this empty square like this. And we want to render it as, hmm, do we want it to be of some certain color? I'm not sure for now, so let's just let it be like that. And case square type snake s- uh, snake square snake. Yeah, these contents inside the span will we will change because they, of course, they don't make any sense. And we, yeah, let's let's keep with these for now. Hmm. And yeah, and we want also. I think we better writing an explicit. This is redundant, but still, I want, to be more explicit. I think that's a good practice if we do so, and we will just return the same thing. Or do we not? Actually, I started up myself, to be completely honest. Maybe we should get rid of this default stuff, because that makes things unpredictable in a way. But on the other hand, we don't want to, deal with these compilation problems and stuff. Yeah, let's keep it like that. I don't think that would cause any problems in the future. So we have our random square function, but actually it's actually stupid. Yeah, let's take a look on our CSS and let's make our square. Yeah, maybe, what sorry that I switch tabs so quickly, but I just got an idea. What if we made these classes dynamic? Because that actually makes sense, right? Because you are not rendering this like one time, you want these squares to be updated. But on the other hand, that's guys, that's because I work with Vue, and in Vue there is a really common design pattern in which you create dynamic classes. But I think in React they are actually, how do I say it? They are reactive by default because they are inside the function. So I don't think that makes sense to make them. I think they are already dynamic. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that hit, man. This is the moment when you can take a light bulb, and put it up my forehead. You'll be like, "Wow, this guy has understood something." Okay, so back to this. We want to make these squares meaningful. I'm not sure how. So we have different classes. What do we want to render inside? Well, I don't think we want to render anything apart from colors for now. Hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, I want to let's say, yeah, let's do it like this. And I probably want, how do I want to render a food? I would probably, you know what? I would probably create an SVG which would render inside that square. And for the snake, I will think something about it. But yeah, let's do it like this for now. Let's leave this squares empty, and let's, how do I make it? Square. Wait a second. Let's let's copy empty square. Not Do not forget about the dot, and let's make it. I'm not sure what this is, but this is probably something like something whitey, of a white color. Let's see. I think we should have all, yeah, all squares are white as supposed. Now that we have it, let's run the mm, snake square snake. I forgot what the class was. Square. Oh, let's actually start from food. Food. Let's do it like this, and let's background color. But we don't want the background color, man. Hmm. Or maybe we do. Or maybe we do. And we want an SVG as well. So let's create SVG. And inside this SVG, wait, I think we also need a viewport property. View box. It was like view box. And we want to know how how much how much space do we have. Let's do it 0, 2020. I'm not sure if it's right, to be honest. Maybe it will turn out to be too big, but I think we are good for now. Also, the thing I don't remember is whether the path tag is self-closing or not. Let's hope it's not. How do I create a path for food? Hope he hope Copilot understands my request. SVG and yeah, let's see. Circle. Really? I want it looks so minimalistic, you know? I want an SVG, not a simple square for that. Oh, but it also returns the key. That's a smart idea. Why didn't I think of that? That's a smart idea. Let's add it to our each option so that it's gonna be key, and that's gonna be like this. Food and X, fuck, $X, $X, dollar Y. Yeah, I think we are better doing keeping these like hyphen in between rather than comma. What's wrong here? Oh, I forgot this. Yeah, and we don't want these spans. We don't want these spans. We hate spans. Now we do this, and we repeat it here. Do this. Good. Now we want to, but create. I want it to create the path, not a circle. Create a path for food, like apple path. All modern SVGs are made with this path string. So even, you know, I will allow myself to. Oh shit, he's actually. So I'll allow myself to copy SVGs because it will be a total disaster to write them out manually because I don't learn anything out of it. So hopefully you guys understand. Yeah, because that looks like a total spam. There's no way you can create it unless you like check pixel by pixel at each command. By the way, did you notice how fancy the comments are written in JSX? In React, you have these curly brackets and then you have the the comment inside. Okay, so of course we don't see anything because, well, for a simple reason, because we don't have any food yet. Mm, what else? What else? We want a snake and empty square. Well, empty square is already good. And snake, I think the snake could be red. Well, it's not the best looking for now, but square snake. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it like this. Snake color red. Oh, but by the way, I did, or let's use violet. That's blue violet. That's the color my girlfriend likes. Since it's a game for her, I think she will like it. Okay, cool. So now we have some basic styles. What we want to do now is to smartly use this render square function, because that's our key function. That's our key function, okay. And how do we use that? Well, hmm, I want to start from spawning a foot and a snake. How do I spawn a foot and a snake? Well, we have the foot, we have the snake, and these are objects of the coordinates of these items. Well, how do we proceed? By the way, guys, hopefully you don't hear the noise on the background. Let me check this. These are objects of the coordinates of the. Yeah, you don't. Fascinating. Because of um, there's a lot of noise in the background. Okay. So going back here, we want somehow to render our snake. How do we render the snake? Well, we can. How do we do that? Well, we should use this inside our render square function, right? Hmm. But in order to render it inside, or maybe this function is actually not good. Yeah, I feel confused a bit. Not sure how to proceed. What if we, how do we render a snake? Maybe. Yeah, I'm really stuck, guys. How do I do that? We have different states. We have a snake state. We should use a snake state to render to render a square with such coordinates. So we can pass it. We can pass a snake parameter into render square function. Hmm. So we rendered using the enum, right? So we want to have a flag let We want to have types. How do I say it? Well, wait a second. Maybe I should use a double array. What? No? Wait. I I'm thinking about the mm, data object which would be capable of holding of mapping the square coordinates to its state. And then, based on this, we will pass an appropriate enum class to the render square function. That sounds like a solid plan. But how do we implement it? Well, we should have some way of storing objects, of storing the mapping of coordinates to to fuck forgot what I meant, of objects of coordinates to enum classes. Well, one way we can represent coordinates is through JSON object. Yeah, we can represent it through JSON object. Okay, so that this can be a list of JSON objects, right? And we can create a type square. Oh, that's a smart approach, I think. Enum, not enum, but no. How do I say it? Const type. No, const square. And it should be equal. Think that's a way. Yeah. Here we want to represent x number. Fuck, but I should type square. Maybe this. Or maybe I should do it like this. Type square. Yeah. Square. Now then y number. And can I specify the ranges? I think I can't. And square type, square type. That's good. What if I did? No, can't do like this. Yeah, that already looks cool. And now we can square type. Yeah, that looks nice. Can we do it like this? S S square type? I'm not sure we can. We cannot. We cannot. Okay. If we cannot, then we won't do this. Alternatively, what we can do is creating square type type, type. No, that I don't think we should need this. And wait a second. Can I do it optional and make it the default as or type empty? Is it legal? A type literal property cannot have initializer. What do I mean? It doesn't have initializer. Well, think we all survive that. Yeah, so there is a generating a random square. So if it's a square, I suppose we better assigning some square type to this. Square type. Why does it why does it want to assign a food so much? I, d- I don't mean it to be fuck empty. Yeah, that's the proper way of doing this. Now, we will operate on these types of objects. We have square types, and we want to pass these square types. So I think we better, instead of this, we can actually pass squares, not all this BS. Square, square type, good. Square type, no, square, not square type. Square type, yeah, cool. We have bunch of errors. Wonder why? So this function is causing troubles. Yeah, that's causing troubles. Well, we will comment this out for now, or or better not, we will erase this completely, and we have more problems. Hey guys, coding by yourself looks overwhelming a bit. Mm. But and we can also do type, square type, wait, square type, type an optional parameter. That's fuck. An optional parameter square type equals square type empty this. Why? Cannot have an initializer. Okay, so let's do it like this then. Yes, this this is even smarter, and I think we can do it like this because it gets passed by TypeScript. Yeah. So we clearly see we have the problems with these because now it doesn't understand what's going on, right? So I think of, and this food is it's not looking good. you know. I think we can get rid of this because as a key, we want only to have x and y. So you'll do it like this: square key, square x, and square y, square y. Let's copy it. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, so this short session wasn't really as productive as I expected, to be honest. But we still made some progress. We defined types. Don't yet render, but we will do it in, I think we will do it in a short time. Yeah. So I'll take a quick rest and see you in 5 minutes, guys. Alright, guys, I'm back. Now we will continue on building our game, and we fixed the keys. We also added some types, which I think is great. And now we want to create a function render squares, as well as somehow make use of render square. So we will pass a square object to the render square function, and I think we want to create these square objects in our functions. We want to manage them somehow. The way we want to manage them is to well, we can start from initializing them. Set snake. I'm really not sure. Yeah. Or we can move snake. Well, how do we do this? Let me think. Yeah, designing is difficult, man. Never thought it's actually as difficult. Plus, it's a basic snake game, and I'm already stuck without ChatGPT. Well, we have. What do we have? Like a fucking grandpa sitting uh, on a public. I forgot the word. You know, like a grandpa playing chess on a street, which blabbers or his mouth some bullshit like oh yo. That's just read me. Hmm. I'm confused. I'm not sure what to do. We want to manage these square objects dynamically, which we will create, and we want to use the render square function, which takes these objects. So, yeah, we want to run render square in a loop, okay? And we want our snake. We want to create this first of all. Yeah, there's no workaround. We should create the list of objects const squares of type square. Yeah, that's what I meant. And so now, there is a good way of checking if it's a snake. But it should be, I feel, like this. Because we will operate on squares, right? So I wonder how do we make use of these hooks? we can use these hooks. Well, if we use enum, I'm not sure we need these hooks. They look redundant a bit because they already represent a state. Or maybe these should be. Yeah, I'm confused a bit. I think with this enum approach, we won't make use of hooks a lot. Alternatively, alternatively, we can create squares with s. Fuck, there is some noise outside. Wait a second, guys. Sorry about that. Like I don't even imagine what that noise is. Just randomly started to be so annoying and pissed me off. Especially when I'm trying to focus, you know? When I'm not keeping up with the easiest game possible and there is a noise outside. It fucking pisses me off, guys. Yeah, so we can use React. But yeah, what's the point of this? Wait a second. Because I'm not sure where are we moving towards. Yeah, I can somehow render squares dynamically. How do I do that? How do I do that? Well, I can loop through all these squares. Oh, I know how we can make it take these squares. Squares of type square array. And now, and by default, we make it an empty list. No, we don't want a default option like that. And if square length what? Wait, what? We don't need this. And now we want to render, we want to pass and return, turn. We want to pass squares. Fuck, squares. Good. Return. Here, render square. Square. No. Const rendered squares for square yeah, for square of squares of squares. Yeah, that's cool. And return. That's square of squares and return rendered squares. Why? What's the problem with that? Expect declaration or statement. Oh yeah, I understand because I didn't use GSX. Rendered squares. Just like this. Cool. Now we want to manage these squares dynamically. Yeah, I feel like I'm just doing the same stuff all over again without any substantial progress. So we have these squares. We want to render them, we want to somehow decide. Fuck off, dude. With this out completely, let me think. Well, hmm, how would I do that? How would I do that? I can start with with 4. Yeah, I want to manage each. Fuck, dude, I really feel lost. We want to initialize. Yeah, this is a start position, right? Hmm. Or do we want some sort of dictionary as a way of storing squares in which to each coordinate there is a corresponding square object like this way. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do it like this. So we will have a squares, which is not an array of squares, but an array of diction an array of dictionary. Bro, how did I even create such an array? I meant such a dictionary. Fucked it. That shit is difficult. I can create an array of. Wait, stop talking. Because I'm starting to talk some BS. We have snake and set snake. We have third and set third. We have game over and set game over. We want functions that will modify the squares. But we still want to initialize the squares somehow. And I feel like the proper way, no, not feel, I think like the proper way of doing this would be if we passed these square objects, but we should also be able to somehow filter them out based on which ID they use. So we can start with, yeah, maybe a list is not such a bad idea after all, but a dictionary would be a much faster way to do this. Hmm. Well, I think, yeah, let's do it with the dictionary after all. Let's ask a really trivial question, which I really don't like asking. How do I, fuck man, how do I create a dictionary of square keys as square coordinates as a key and a square type as a value? I think that's the proper way of doing this, just because the access time would be fast. That's because hashing is used. And second, so this is how it's. Oh, I didn't know that this is a dictionary. This looks like JavaScript. So JavaScript doesn't have JavaScript objects, but maybe. Or a map, alternatively, a map. But I think the best way is to create a. Okay, so squares. Maybe I should render it. Square square map. Yeah, let's create a square map. Square map values. We'll just do square map values. Fuck, there is no items. Well, fuck. Wait a second. Get set. Get the set. How do I pass? Get values, maybe like this. Still not a thing. Wait a second. How? Or maybe ask ChatGPT. How do I create? How do I pull the values array of a map? Oh, you want values. That's values, man. I used values function. What do you mean? I used this function. I literally did. Oh, but that's because it. Oh, I understand that was an error. Well, we can do it like. Oh, well, I'm actually not sure which structure is this, but let's do it like this. New map, and the key would be what? The key would be. Can we do it in a triple way, so to say? Number, number, square. Can we do it like this? I suppose we can't. Expected two type arguments. Well, we can pass a tuple. I'm not sure if tuple is a thing in JS. I'm sorry to say such blatant, stupid stuff, but I'm really not. Number. Let's see if it works. I think it doesn't. Is there a tuple in JS? Oh, there is not. Just have arrays. Well, I'll use this then. Number, and square. Yeah, let's use it like this. And inside square map, let's what do we want to pass? Well, now I'll pass the squares. Let's do it like this. Now we want to initialize them. I want to square map push. Oh no. By the way, how do I overwrite an element? How do I overwrite write a map element. So set silently square map, square map for let x, x, yeah, board size, yeah, that's what I meant. Yes, what's wrong here? Maybe this is wrong. Yeah, that is. Now we want to do it like this, but not. Oh, no, we actually want to do it like this. Foot. I think our UI should change now. How do I fix this? Copy, copy and paste here. Really annoying issue. Oh, so it returns an iterator and we want to create an array from this iterator. Why didn't we see anything? Why didn't we see anything? Foot. Oh, that's because. What was the argument of this? Square type, square. And I think this function, yeah, this function is that this function is redundant now. It overgrew itself. Generate random square position. Let's do it like this and call this square type. And let's do it like this, square type, and pass snake square type. Foot. Oh, these change. Huh. Interesting. Why are they why is why are they rendered here? Isn't that interesting? Hmm. Yeah, I'm lost. I feel so confused, guys. Not sure why are they rendered here even. Let's you know what? Let's do it like this. In render console log food score and let's render Rendering third square. Let's do it like this. And let's do similarly here. Fuck, didn't mean that. Console log. Yeah, like this. Let's use semicolon. Save it. Reload it. Start. The UI is bad, man. Let's see console. Fuck. I wanted to see the object itself. Yeah, either way, guys, we are done for today. Didn't do as much as I hoped to. It looks like we like visually we did some stuff, but it's still, unclear and unclear. So let's just wait to I can't wait to make some modifications and hopefully change this. So make sure you check another part, next part in which we will be fixing code and trying to make these squares display properly. Thank you for watching. See you soon.